Warpugs! So, today we're going to be checking out some Gaijin Goombah. Now, here's the thing. I've never seen anything from Gaijin Goombah before, but this video is right up my alley. Somehow, some way. Right up the alley if I got dumped off of it from a minivan at about 4 in the morning. This is how orcs saved my life. Yes, really. You don't really hear about orcs saving things. Beating things, hitting things, screaming at things. Yes, but saving things? Especially a life. Warpugs, let's just jump right into this. This is the first time I've ever seen anything from Gaijin Goombah. I've actually had like a bunch of their videos pop up on my feed since they were first recommended way back in the day. But I have held off on checking out anything up until now. Anytime I'm checking out somebody new, I always like to reach out to make sure that's going to be okay. I got an email back, I think yesterday, to the affirmative, and here we are. Warpugs, let's sit back and let's go. Gaijin Goombah, how orcs saved my life. Yes, really.
Alright, Internet, you keep telling me just to make videos on stuff I love, and you'll watch it regardless.
Okay.
So, today, I'm talking about something that I love very, very much. Orcs.
Orcs!
Not those. Not those.
No?
And not even those.
Ooh.
These.
Yeah!
These based silly green skins from England's greatest tabletop financial sink, Warhammer 40k. 40k orcs are my absolute favorite take on green skin, orcoid, and goblinoid races in fantasy. To sum them up, they're an anarchical, semi-capitalist society that are made for fighting and winning. Literally.
That's
Fighting
it.
for orcs is a physical need like food, water, or sleep, as they're a biological weapon made by godlike space frogs to fight Egyptian terminators.
This is true.
God, I love the setting.
This is true.
If orcs don't fight, they literally become obese and die. But fighting for 40k orcs isn't just axes, spears, and headbutts to nose bridges either. Sure, they got their choppas, stickers, and such, but orcs in the setting have one thing that makes them stand out to all other orcs in fantasy. The best take on diesel punk that I've ever seen. And this is just what I adore about them. Orc mechs, as they're called, create some of the biggest and dumbest guns, vehicles, walkers, and robots that just... Man, look at these things! I freaking love it! More specifically, the orcs' take on the genre of mecha are so unique and fun that I can't help but collect all of them. Kill a can...
Quite simply put, if you have a bunch of scrap metal sitting by your house, you can build an orc vehicle. Now, whether it runs or not is the real question, but an orc can make it run.
Hands, Death Dreads, Knots, Stompas, and Gargants. It's like Metal Slug and Gundam when added on top of a D&D table. In fact, I love Orc Mecha so much, my very first kit bash was a Space Marine Tactical War Suit that I looted into a War Suit.
Yeah!
With multiple magnet options for weapon swapping. Yes, I am that much of a nerd. Now, if you've been around my channel for a
I'm jealous.
while, you've already seen a hint of my horrible hyperfixation from the handful of cultural analysis videos I did on the orcs and the Tau. But I don't think you understand just how insane my love of these tusk fungus people are. Wait, tusk fungus people? Huh. Anyway, I've got a lot of orcs. And by a lot, I mean I have almost every orc model from the core 40k game either painted, assembled, or unassembled.
Right.
Don't look at me like that, I'll get to them eventually.
That's a mortgage, by the way.
For 100 boys, beast snaggers aplenty, every single funny buggy, battle wagons, mech guns, Daka jets, stompas, knots, cans, dreads, bunkas, and workshops. I even committed the greatest sin of cringe by creating my own unique orc OCs with a backstory the size of War and Peace nestled deep within my noggin.
Wait a minute, you don't have any, like, if you don't have an orc tribe, like, with a backstory that could be contained within 6 volumes and fill out half the Library of Congress, I mean, you're just not doing it right anymore now, are you?
But I know some of you are very, very curious to hear the backstory of this guy, so let me sum it up in one sentence. Through Gorgan Glitstaka and his instantly regrowing teeth, Gork and Mork thought it'd be absolutely hilarious if they ruined capitalism. And this is just the official stuff. I haven't even begun to talk about all the third-party orc stuff I got. Cromlech, Puppet Sword, Gear Guts, Modulorca. Not only do I have a lot of brand new flavors of orc ingenuity, but I'm also ankle deep in building a full-on space samurai orc army. Because of course I did. Remember who you're talking to here.
And the thing about it is, this wouldn't be that far outside the norm for a traditional group of orcs. It really wouldn't.
Also, if you four are ever looking for a sponsor, dude, I don't even want money. Just throw a Gargant at my face and we'll call it square. However, before anyone accuses me of throwing adulting to the wind and reinforcing satire comics created by out-of-touch conservatives, firstly, mind your own business. Secondly, a huge amount of these models were gifted to me by some of the most insanely kind people from my streaming community, who have thrown massive amounts of high-priced plastic and resin at my face because they knew it would make me happy.
Yay!
So I just wanted to say thank you to the kind-hearted people who bullied me with kindness. You know who you are, and yes, these brutal, warmongering, cannibalistic, violent fungus people do make me very happy. Because despite these aforementioned adjectives, not only did these funny green boys essentially save my mental health during COVID, they also reinforce some of the greatest life lessons that everyone should consider every day.
Okay, let's go.
You what?
Now at this point, you might very logically be asking, Gaijin, how do a sentient fungus obsessed with fighting, guns, and brutality make for good life coaches? Well, honestly, it comes from their simplistic views on life.
Yes!
In lore, orcs are the most content race in the galaxy.
They are.
The entire Milky Way is at war with itself, and while the space humans, space elves, space dwarves, and space socialists lament about it, space orcs are having a grand old time. They just want to do one thing, fight, and that's all that anyone is doing.
The Eldar actually said that despite everything that they've done, all their creations, and everything that they have gone through, the orcs have the most functional and best society, period, that works for their species. And they don't need to do anything else. They're perfect just the way they are. Makes you cry.
They're also basically immune to temptation by space demons from the hell that is the warp, because they don't need anything more than what they already have. In fact, it was a space elf philosopher named Uthan the Perverse who stated, "The orcs are the pinnacle of creation. For them, the great struggle is won. They have evolved a society which knows no stress or angst. Who are we to judge them? We Eldar who have failed, or the humans on their road to ruin in their turn? And why? Because we sought answers to questions that an orc wouldn't even bother to ask. We see a culture that is strong and despise it as crude." But there's actually 8 specific life lessons that orc society revolves around that, honest to God, has saved my mental health as a content creator and as an individual caught up in the nightmarish hellscape that is social media. Yes, I'm being very serious. In an age where we're bombarded with seeing the best of everyone's life, of beautiful people on tropical vacations, artists who crank out masterpieces at the age of 12, and where likes are attributed to self-worth, the philosophy of these marauding goofballs actually holds the key to unshackling ourselves from depression, poor self-esteem, and anxiety.
Lesson 1.
Okay.
Be creative.
In the world of 40k, the Imperium of Man believes all of their old tech is just the best thing ever, cause they were made when the Imperium was at its peak.
Right.
Therefore, if someone was to suggest that, I don't know, a Lehman Russ tank would work better if it had a more advanced engine or gun, they would be executed for tech heresy.
Yes.
Obviously, this has led the Imperium to a much larger state of stagnation than it already was. But this is a concept that the orcs wouldn't give 2 squirts of a squig's drops for.
No.
As previously stated, orcs built some really insane crap. Smash-a-guns that use tracking beams to pick up and smash down enemies, bubble chuckas that launch weaponized force field bubbles, a wormhole gun that teleports frenzied goblins into crowds, and even a rocket hammer that has a warhead attached to it.
Yes, this is the thing. They designed a hot rod that could travel to the warp. No real reason, they just did it.
All of these are incredibly unstable but highly effective weapons that have come from the orc imagination. When orcs get an idea, they try it because why not?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, zog it. Try something different. But if it does work, then get the boys and go crumpin'. While the Imperium is hyper-obsessed with their past success and never evolved from technology or ethics from that time, orcs aren't shackled by anyone else's concept of success except their own. Even then, orcs in different occupations bicker back and forth about what method is the best way to fight. Some say big choppas, some say big shooters, but to the individual, it just doesn't matter. Orcs think, create, and do based on their own creativity and perspective, and this has been the best lesson orcs have taught me. For those of you who have been around for a while, you'll know that I got my big break on the Game Theorist where I would get millions of views per upload. Where now on my own channel, I get a fraction of that. Much like the Imperium's obsession with past success, for a long time I was obsessed with trying to get back to that viewership size that I used to have, which did nothing but stagnate my thinking and stress me out. But after I stopped caring about numbers and just created in the way that I wanted to create, I was infinitely more happy. Like this video, for example. There's no cultural analysis here, no hot takes on Japan, but screw it. This video is my personal shock attack gun of YouTube, and if I wormholed a crazed snotling into a 6-digit view count, then we did it, boys.
There
If
you
not,
go.
Try something else. The same lesson could be applied to anyone. Try not to obsess over the past or what works but now doesn't. Try something new. Create what inspires you. Even if other people think it's dumb, who cares about them? This is for you and the people who you think will love it. Do it for them.
Lesson 2. Don't be what you's ain't.
Within Orc society, all of the odd boys,
This is why I can't do lore like Baltimore. Because if I try to do lore like Baltimore, I will lose my mind. And even though my lore channel, let's just be honest, my lore channel doesn't doing good. I need to upload to it more. I need to do more stuff to it. I am sad that I was sick this weekend because I was looking forward to recording a new video. But it's mine. And even though most lore videos don't get above few thousand views, it's mine.
Specialist orcs that make up all these specific occupations have a genetic inert understanding of that which they do. Orcs are not taught how to practice their occupation. They simply realize the one or two things that they're really, really good at and love, usually revolving around fighting, and devote every waking moment to bettering themselves in that field. Orc mechs constantly work to make bigger and badder contraptions. Orc pain boys find nothing greater in life than learning how orc physiology works, sometimes leading to the disastrous end of their patients.
Yes.
Grunts find no greater glee than sharing orc legends passed down the generations, as well as brutally raising and hurting snotlings and grots. Even the humble brew boys want nothing more than the ability to make a better fungus beer. They don't try to be anything they aren't. An orc mech boy doesn't try to be a runt herd, and a pain boy never tries to be a brew boy. They discover what they're good at, and then hone in on it. Likewise, we humans in the real world have multiple examples of this mentality. The epitaph of the grave of the famous American poet Henry Charles Bukowski Jr. reads, "Don't try." Within Chinese Taoism, there's a great philosophy of non-doing called Wu Wei. The idea here isn't not to try to do anything, but it's the concept of not putting effort into anything that doesn't come naturally. This, in my opinion, is the secret sauce to success in life. For example, throughout my career, there have been a lot of people telling me that I need to make certain kinds of content.
Right.
I've been around since 2013, and I've had a lot of these people tell me that I need to be on camera more, follow certain trends, get rid of little G, make pranks.
People for the long, like, every once in a while, I get people telling me I should do political content. I get people telling me I should do that a lot. I do not want to do that kind of stuff. I didn't make this channel to do that kind of stuff. So, I massively get where he's coming from with this because it's just not my bag. It's not my bag. I don't want to put that kind of energy out into the world, and I don't want to associate with that. It is what it is.
Videos, make my specific brand focus only around one game or franchise, and in some cases, by not doing this, I've actually lost friends and I've lost a lot of work. I mean, you want a little insider secret? Not making certain kinds of content is why I'm no longer with the Game Theorists. But that's because I learned that trying to do or be something that you're not is both a waste of time and impossible to maintain. I could follow trends and be successful talking about things I personally don't care about, but the majority does. But you guys, the people who watch everything that I put out, would know it and be disappointed by it, rightfully calling me out for not doing what I actually care about. But I'll tell you what, gang, the exact same could be said for all of you as well. I firmly believe that everyone is good at something, big or small. The problem I think a lot of people are facing is that they either don't know what they're good at yet, they're not sure how to make that into a job, or they're trying to be something or do something that they're not because someone else more popular or successful is doing it and they want in on it. Don't fall for these traps. Do what the orcs do. As you grow up, or even after you've grown up, think long and hard about what you love as well as what you're good at. If you can focus your mind onto these things, you'll find a great amount of happiness in life. I personally was really lucky. I learned at the age of 18 that I was put on this planet to be a cultural bridge between the US and Japan.
Okay.
From talking to big groups of people to intimate one-on-one conversations. And I've accomplished that goal several times over through different methods. Studying abroad, teaching abroad, doing YouTube. I figured out what I loved and what I was good at, and I never tried to be something I'm not. So don't waste your time trying to be something that you aren't. Give yourself a lot of time to figure out what it is that you love and are good at, and then zero in on that with all of your energy. Whether you end up being a mech boy or a run herd, you're gonna be happy with life.
Lesson 3.
Oh.
Crump everyone the same.
Now this one might seem a little bit odd, considering orcs want to fight and crump everything in the known galaxy.
True.
Including themselves.
Yes.
But in a way, I think that makes them one of the most unhateful races in the setting. Orcs don't have a beef with anyone specifically, they just want good fights.
Yeah.
Orcs don't go out of their way to slaughter one specific race in the galaxy. In fact, many times orcs will completely ignore villages and towns of common folk because there's no fight there.
Right.
They just want a good scrap. And if you give them a good scrap, half the time they'll respect you for it. The biggest, baddest orc in the galaxy, Gazgul Mag-Uruk Thraka, released a human commissar named Yarrick from slavery because he consistently gave Gazi good fights. In a way, this is a superb life lesson, though better.
And this is the very, like, Sebastian Yarrick is the reason I named the channel Old Man. It's not because I'm old. This channel is named after him.
Are taken from the other side of the spectrum. Orcs don't hold grudges because it's a waste of time and can keep you from finding good fights. In the same vein, holding grudges and hate with specific people does nothing but waste our own energy and either keeps us from doing something more productive or limits our experiences with other people in the world. Look, there are a lot of people in this industry of content creation that I just don't care for. But I don't harbor any hate for them because it does nothing but waste my time and energy.
Right.
I don't care what some other shady online personality did. Shut up, it's distracting me from making my stupid culture analysis videos.
There's a couple of people that I won't, like, I just simply put will not do anything with. And at that point, once I say that, it's over for me. I'm done.
If you hold on to grudges
I'm not
and
even
true
gonna be
hatred,
angry
then
about
you're
it.
gonna miss out on some of the biggest metaphorical scraps you ever had, and you're gonna regret it.
Lesson 4. Don't be a born Umi.
Yeah.
As I said before, orcs are constantly trying new things. New weapons, new vehicles, new contraptions,
Oh,
and
that's
in
so-
the Blood X cases,
It's like a killdozer as a suit of armor. You gotta love it.
new tactics. I mean, orc mech boys will continuously be inspired to create new technological wonders to crump their enemies with, and more often than not though, these will actually backfire and blow up in their face.
Massively.
But they don't care. No orc fears death itself, only a death that had no flair, style, or meaning.
Right.
And if they do end up succeeding, then they and their new tech become legends. So, one of the last things that my grandfather told me before he died was to, quote, be reckless. And in the moment, it felt kind of weird. I mean, I still remember the look on my mom's face after hearing her father tell this to me with the biggest smile on his face. But 13 years later, I think it was the best piece of advice I ever could have received in my career. It was a massive risk for me to dump a bunch of time and energy trying to create a YouTube channel and Twitch stream. Years of work went into its creation before I ever earned a penny. And even before I started doing this for a living, it was a huge risk for me to go to college to study Japanese and Asian international relationships. There wasn't exactly a big market for those skills at the time. And God, everyone in academia told me exactly what I should do.
Right.
And all of it was low risk and cookie cutter. But by taking all of these specific risks, I'm doing what I know that I'm here to do. Now, I'll be the first to admit that there was a huge amount of luck that went into my massive success here on YouTube and on Twitch. But as my father always tells me, busy people get lucky. And if I never took these risks despite the potential devastating outcomes and kept busy, I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am now. Look, I'm not telling you to metaphorically make a brand new custom Mega Blasta and purposely have it blow up in your face.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I've seen people attempt that. They're usually in Russia, and it's usually a bad idea, okay? I'm just saying, you don't want to go down that road.
Is such a thing as risk assessment. But a life without risk is a life without success.
Exactly.
Be like those orc mechs and go try something daring.
Lesson 5. Don't stop trying, you get.
And even if you fail, keep trying. One of the most beautiful things about orcs is that, as they say, they's never beaten. If an orc wins a fight, then congratulations, boys, we's did it.
Yay!
But if they lose, they went out doing what they love doing, fighting. And if they ran away, well, all that means is they get to come back and crump another day with a different approach.
True.
Maybe more Daka or wrangling a giant Squigoth. It's such a basic life lesson, but one I think we ignore all the time. There's a concept a lot of us YouTubers use called failing faster. It's the idea of failing as fast as you can so you can quickly see what works and what doesn't. What visuals work, what writing works, what upload time does better than others. I contextualize it as a YouTuber strategy, but really it's applicable to anything. The faster you fail at what you're trying to do, the faster you'll learn about what not to do. Really, failing is far more important than success, because rarely do you learn anything from success. The Imperium of Man, for example, failed because by being the unmatched power in the known galaxy for tens of thousands of years, they haven't and refuse to try anything new. Which, as we've already mentioned, has led them to do nothing but stagnate technologically and philosophically. Orks,
yeah, the Imperium really hasn't really, the last time they had any major reforms was the Age of Apostasy, and that was 5,000 years ago. Prior to Gilliman's arrival, anyway.
Lose all the time, but they keep trying new stuff until they do win. And even if they never win, they keep trying new ways of fighting. All I can say to you, everyone, is keep trying to find new ways to fighting.
Lesson 6. Follow the boss.
Orc society is very, very simple. The biggest and the strongest lead. The orc who takes on every single challenger and wins is deemed the war boss of a tribe or even their own Wa.
Right.
And orcs have zero problems with this. To them, the biggest and the strongest boss, logically, will bring them to the biggest and best fights.
Obviously.
Such is the single thing that all orcs want. It just makes Zogan sense to follow the biggest boss.
It does.
Now on the flip side, one of the greatest failures in real life society over the last 30 some odd years is that we've all been told since birth not to be a follower, but a leader.
Right.
That each one of us is special and destined to do something great by ourselves. This, of course, is not only horribly untrue, but it's incredibly dysfunctional. Now, you might think that's a counteractive point to what I've said above, but all I've said is to find out what you're good at and pursue it with all haste. I never said you had to do it by yourself or that you alone could be the only master of the thing that you're good at.
Oh god, no.
There's nothing wrong with following a leader and working as a group, whether it be working under a supervisor on a project, under a team captain, or under a parent trying to keep a family healthy. In most cases, these people are in those positions because their experience and understanding have put them in those places. Yet our society has told us over and over again that all of us have to be leaders.
Right.
We all have to be supervisors. We all have to be team captains. And we all have to be our own authorities, because to follow someone else shows weakness. I think that is one of the stupidest things to come out of our generation, and
It is unrepentantly stupid. Anytime somebody tells me that my 9 to 5, I teach people how to do a job. That's what I do. I'm a trainer. And the number one thing I tell them is, look, there ain't a single person here that knows everything. There ain't a single person here that knows everything. If you're here for 6 months or 6 years, you're still going to be asking questions, and don't be afraid to do that. Every so often, though, I get a person that comes into a training group that is just clouded by this mentality, and it is so hard to get somebody to step outside of that, because people who have this mentality fail. People who have this mentality absolutely fail. And that, I tell people all the time, if you do not know, ask. And I'm always here for people. Like, it is what it is.
I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Most people think that my job of doing YouTube has all been about my decisions, my efforts, my skills, and so on.
Right.
But nothing could be further from the truth. When I worked under the Game Theorist, I was part of a team. Sure, I made content from my own ideas, but Matt was our team leader, and he was a damn good one. He taught me so much about working as a content creator. He introduced me to all kinds of connections and people. He taught me how to create better videos, but I still had to answer to him. And trust me, there were a lot of times where we absolutely disagreed, but I trusted him as a leader, and it's paid off even to this day. In fact, I actually missed those days when I was part of a team. I do everything myself now. Scripting, recording, editing, everything. And while sure I have complete creative control, I legitimately think my best work was done when I had a team to work with. I honestly think we, just like the Orks, need good leaders and guidance. But...
Lesson 7. Bad bosses get cropped.
Don't be a Linus Lemming. For as lacking in intellect as Orks are, and trust me, they are the dumbest race in the galaxy, even they...
No. No, they are not the dumbest. They are not. That would be the Tau.
Know when to get rid of a bad leader. The position of war boss is a double-edged sword. Sure, you have an entire wall of thousands of orc boys to tell what to do and where to go, but if you're not taking them to the biggest and best fights, it's only a matter of time before someone steps up and crumps you because they think they can do it better. All orcs follow bosses, but all orcs have ambition. Each one very much willing to challenge leadership when leadership is obviously terrible. And in orc society, leadership changes constantly.
Right.
So too do I think that we should keep an eye out for bad leadership. If someone sucks at leading and everybody knows it, call them out on it. A good leader should always be open to criticism and be willing to change. Now, you 40k fans might be saying, but Gaijin, orcs are one of the most stubborn races in the galaxy. War bosses usually have to be killed off in order for new leadership to blossom.
Right.
Which is true, except for one, the aforementioned Gaijin Goombah. Not only has he openly admitted to being wrong in the way that he handled the Wars of Armageddon, he admitted that he was wrong about his goblin grot Makari. And if you know anything about orcs...
Speaking of, by popular demand from the last Calidus lore video, guys, the Slap-a-Grot t-shirt is up on Fourth Wall now. We have a t-shirt, we have a sticker. Yeah. The Slap-a-Grot t-shirt is up right now. Valk, as soon as I told her this, about the attention to it, she thought it was a great idea. Up top, we have, guys, I had way too much fun with the Slap-a-Grot meme from the last one, and I had been sitting here thinking of how I was going to, when I was going to release it. I was thinking about doing it on the next lore video, but if I'm watching something about orcs, let's go.
Oh, no orc would willingly admit to being wrong with a grot. But this is why he's held the title of war boss longer than any other orc in history. Good leaders need to understand and change when they make mistakes. And if they don't listen to you and the boys, then they needs to go. Find someone worth leading, or if you have the chops and will to do it, be a leader yourself.
Yep.
I know this has been a really weird video, especially coming from me, but it's been a weird last couple of years. I've been fighting my own issues of mental health and stagnation to a point of actual depression and needing the help of a therapist. But if I'm being totally honest, I owe my mental health to these little green dorks. Not only has building and painting these boys helped create an environment of dopamine detoxing away from analytic pressure and performance anxiety that YouTube brings, they've reminded me and continue to remind me of what's important in life. And I don't know, I guess I hoped by listening to me hyperfixate on this new tabletop obsession I have now, maybe these boys could help you in the way that they helped me.
Maybe.
But hey, either way, if you made it this far in the video, man, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a very long time, but since it's got nothing to do with Japan or cultural analysis, I was worried it was just gonna perform poorly and spiral my searchability into nothing. But screw it, man. You gotta be like them orcs and just do what makes you happy and say zog it to everything else.
Yep.
So thanks for letting me have a break on this one, everyone, and be on the lookout in the next week or so for actual cultural analysis videos. I got a lot of hot takes on Japan that I don't think you're gonna want to miss, such as Japan being a country of pure liminal space, or that Oda Nobunaga, the demon king of the sixth heaven, was actually the most level-headed of the three great unifiers of Japan. But in any case, until next time everyone, this is Gaijin Goombah, signing out.
This was really good life advice. This is extremely good life advice for anybody. And yes, they have the most easy and functional society, but the way that he laid out those tenets of orc society, it works so well for anybody. I gotta say that I have myself, because of the performance of the lore channel, I have been like really down on myself lately. And it's been a thing where I wondered what I was going to do, if I was going to continue. Because you do get those doubts. You really do get those doubts. And when you put in a lot of effort and stuff like that on something and it doesn't go through, it hurts. It can sometimes hurt bad. But I'm going to continue going. I'm going to continue working. Because I like my lore videos. And hopefully one day the algorithm will like them too and put them out to some people. Until then, you gotta labor in the shadows before you can labor in the sun. Warpugs, Gaijin Goombah. This is a great request. This has some great life advice. This is like, it's I think this might be the first time I've seen 40k philosophy in terms of things that you can apply to your own life. Until next time, Warpugs, all the Gaijin Goombah's links are going to be in the description below, right next to my own. Check down there for links to the store where the new Slappergrot shirt is out. And if you guys would like a product, message me on Discord, or yeah, leave a comment down below. If you would like the Slappergrot on a certain product, just let me know. And as far as everything else goes, guys, join for early access by becoming a member or a Patreon. I will catch you guys next time. Life advice from Orks. It's good stuff anyway.